Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a live recording of a 50-minute full body flexibility practice. I do use a strap, my bolster, and I even use bow a little bit today. So find a little bit of space to move and let's get started. Okay, so we can start laying down today. If you want to lay on something, feel free to do so. You can have your straps close by if you've got something to make your arms a little bit longer. Make your way into a comfy-ish position. Maybe you'll do something with your legs if you want to get into your hips a little bit. But reaching your arms out nice and wide. Letting your eyes close. Just take a slow, deep breath in and let it go. Take another slow, deep breath in. Feel your belly, your chest expand. And let it go. Maybe do that one more time. A nice slow, deep breath in. And just letting it go. Maybe you're able to find some stillness here throughout your body. No need to put any effort into your breath now, but still feel it, still notice it. I'll stay here for just a few more moments if you wanted to adjust what your legs are doing, or maybe your arms. You could reach them above your head. Maybe get into the shoulders a little bit. And if you're making some adjustments, moving around, maybe you can find stillness again. Relax your body in the position that you've placed it. Just feel the gentle rise and fall of your tummy. Taking another breath. And if you brought your arms above the head, maybe you'll slide them back to your sides. If you have your legs out long or in a diamond shape, you can start to bring your feet to your mat, bending your knees. And if you're laying on top of something, you can sit up just to take it out from under you. Slide it off to the side for now. And then lay back down, flat on your back. And maybe you'll hug your knees towards your chest or just rock your knees side to side a few times. Give your low back a nice little massage. We can also find our straps if you've got something to use as a strap today. Our right foot will be lifting up into the air first. So you can place your strap right under your toes on the ball of your foot. Find some nice length through the right leg, sending the heel up. Maybe moving your leg around a little bit. Find that sweet spot where you get a nice stretch. And your left leg, if you have space or you just want to send your leg out long, maybe you've got a bow bolster under your leg, like I'm lucky enough, kind of comfortable actually. But focus more on your right leg right now, the one that's lifted up. And we're not going to stay here too long because we're going to be stretching our leg kind of like this again later. So just see how your hamstring, your calf is feeling. And stay for just another breath before you let your legs start to bend and your foot can come down. We can switch sides, no rush though. Left foot lifting up with or without a strap. Send your heel up a little higher. Maybe bend and straighten the knee a few times. Find that sweet spot. Nice stretch through that left leg, and then maybe you will straighten your right leg out too for a little extra, maybe not. Taking another breath or two here. And then we can start to bend our leg, take your strap off. Feel free to hug your knees towards your chest, place your strap to the side for a moment. I feel like it's been a little bit since the dogs have actually barked, but maybe I'm wrong. You can rock your knees side to side, or again, hug your knees towards your chest and rock side to side. But we're going to be coming all the way up into a seated position. And we're going to find our straps again. But we're going to find a half straddle as well. So let's send our right leg out wide, and then our left leg can bend in front. You don't have to use a strap, but you can. You can place it on the ball of your foot and bring your leg out nice and wide. It might end up off of your mat. And then take an inhale to lengthen through your spine. Maybe you're just going to hold your strap with your right hand. And you don't have to use your strap. You can just point your toes up. But long spine. And then if it feels good to tip forwards, you can start to tip forwards. You might have to tighten your grip up on your strap a little. Again, you don't have to use it, but just see how it feels. If your chest wants to tip forward, and your inner leg, your inner thigh. And then if you're folding forwards, I'm going to give you guys a few options to turn the upper body a little bit here in this half straddle. So you can always stay in one place. You can maybe just stay centered, facing forward, maybe tipping down. But if you want to start to turn your chest towards the left a little bit, maybe towards your knee, you might continue to hold your strap, point your toes up, and then try to lengthen your spine even more. Even though you're turning your chest a little bit, try to find a nice long spine. You can also start to tip forwards, maybe towards the knee. If it feels good to do so, your hand might be sliding down your strap as you lean away from your foot. Just see how it feels. Maybe your left leg's getting a little love now. And then we can start to kind of float back up if you're folding off to that left side. And once you're sitting tall again, just start to turn your chest to face forwards. And then you might keep turning the chest towards the right side a little, just a gentle twist. Maybe you can look at your foot, lengthen your spine again. Stay sitting tall. Maybe you're going to take a little tip forwards over towards the right side. Feel stretch through your back, maybe just the leg, maybe you're reaching a little closer to your foot or not. And then just slowly lifting back up if you did decide to tip forwards. If you're using a strap, we can take it off of our foot for a moment, and you can just kind of bring your legs in and together. Give them a squeeze, maybe even a rock side to side. And then we are just going to switch. So our left leg can start to come out nice and wide, that half straddle. Bend your right leg. And then adding your strap. If you want to use your strap, or maybe you don't want to use your strap. Maybe you don't have one. Let's start centered. Let's face forwards. Let's lengthen through our spine. Maybe let your eyes close. Notice how this left leg's feeling. The inner leg, the hip, hamstring. Feel like taking a tip forwards will give you more. If it feels good, you can start to tip forward. And then letting in inhale, bring you back up. If you are going to come for those twists, you can start to lift back up, and then the chest can turn towards your right knee a little, lengthen the spine. Maybe push your hands into the floor, at least your right hand into the floor behind you, beside you. And then if you did want to try to tip to the side, you can start to tip to the side towards your knee a little. Maybe keep pointing your left toes up. And then inhale can lift you. And you can start to turn your chest forwards again, and then over to the left side a little. Lengthening through the spine. Stay sitting tall. Take your tip over towards your left leg if you want. Maybe just a very small twist, a small tip forwards even. And slowly lift back up. If you are folding forwards, we can start to turn back to face the center as well if you're using a strap. Please, we'll take it off your foot too. You can drop it and bring your legs back together. Give your knees a hug or squeeze. We'll rock side to side if you'd like. Okay, so we're gonna come onto our hands and knees. We're gonna be setting up our lizard with a few options, of course, lots of options. So if you want a pillow of some kind, maybe a strap of some kind close as well, we'll come on to our hands and knees first. If you want to rock your hips side to side a few times. When I told Bo to come to class today, he took it very seriously. We're going to be bringing our right foot forwards. And then once you're in a lunge, you can heel toe your foot over towards the right side. Set up your lizard. Let your knee kind of fall out to the side a little, sink into the hips. So if you want to stay on your hands or maybe rest your arms on something, you could maybe use a pillow or some blocks or your mat. And then if we maybe want to add our back leg into this, you might want to use your strap in your right hand. You can try to bend your back leg. See how close you can get your foot towards your hips without reaching back for it first. And then if you're able to, just hook your strap around your foot. You can see maybe if the heel wants to come a little closer towards the glute, but then notice your right arm. If your elbow is bending, if you're using your strap, if you're bending your back leg, just notice your right arm. And maybe you can find a sweet spot where your foot's kind of falling away from your glutes instead, and then that brings some length into the arm. And then once your arm's kind of a little bit longer, you could start to turn to face forwards again and let the arms stay long, and maybe you feel just kind of a gentle pull, gentle stretch the shoulder, the arm, the wrist. And maybe you've forgotten all about your hips. If you are doing that straighter arm, you've got your back leg bent, you could definitely stay like you are. Or maybe you want to take a peek back at your foot again, maybe bend the elbow, encourage the heel a little closer towards the glutes. And then we are going to stay a little longer in our lizard, but if you do want to let your back leg go, you can start to release it and then just enjoy a few moments, maybe on your forearms or on your hands. Softening through your hips a little bit more. Awesome work, you guys. Take another breath if you'd like where you are, and then you can start to move. We can make our way back into our lunge. You can heel toe your foot back to the middle of your mat, and then slide that right leg back into tabletop. We are going to take a moment before switching sides, so maybe you will rock your hips a few times. If you want to go into child's pose, you could do that too. Or maybe puppy dog will be your choice. Letting go of the hips, lengthening through the arms, getting into the shoulders. few moments here. You have some time to settle in. Back to your breath. Wherever you happen to be, if that's puppy dog or child's pose, with the next inhale you take, lift your forehead, your chest, so you can make your way back into tabletop. Maybe rock it out a few times. We will be bringing our left foot forward, setting up our lizard with the other leg. The left foot can come forwards. Then you can heel toe your foot off to the left side, sinking into the hips. And maybe you'll rest your arms or your hands on something. Maybe you are gonna start to bend your back leg, go that route. You could bend the leg, see how close you can get your foot to your hips without touching it. Hook up your straps if you're gonna use a strap. Maybe just kind of encourage your heel towards your hips. And then maybe you'll find some length through that arm, kind of let the foot fall away. And then maybe taking that left shoulder and your gaze forwards a little more, keeping the length through the arm and maybe adding a little stretch there. You're going for that straight arm version. Maybe take a peek back at your foot. Maybe bend the elbow now and see how much you can move that heel towards your glutes, if at all. And then maybe you'll stay with your back leg in the quad stretch, or maybe you'll start to let that leg go back out long, and then a few more moments here in our lizard. Whatever that's gonna look like for you today. Just another breath. And then you can start to move. We can lift on up. Move our foot back to the middle of our mat, and then eventually into our tabletop again. Maybe you want to rock your hips side to side a few times. Again, you can either find child's pose for a moment. We can go back into our puppy dog stretch. We won't stay quite as long this time, but just take a moment if you want to stay in tabletop, child's pose, if you want to reach it forwards, come back into your puppy dog stretch. Let's say maybe 3 breaths here. 3 breaths. And they're starting to move. Again, we are going to meet in tabletop and we'll all get into our shoulders a little bit more. So tabletop, reaching our right arm out in front, and then we can slide our left arm underneath our chest. Try to bring your shoulder down, your arm down as low as they want to go, keeping your hips high. Use our next inhale to lift again. Take your arm out from under your chest, back into your tabletop for a moment. When you are ready to switch sides, left arm can reach out in front. Your right arm can slide under the chest. Drop it down. Bring your next inhale, lift you up again. Bring your hands under your shoulders, maybe a little shoulder wiggle, a hip rock. We are going to be coming onto our tummies. You don't need anything, but I want you to have some space on either side of your legs, if possible. So we're going to start in Sphinx with the upper body lifted, elbows under the shoulders, palms facing down. And then just maybe have your feet as wide as you'd like without thinking too much about how wide they are. But take an inhale and drop your shoulders from your ears. Start to give your glutes a little squeeze. Lift the chest a little. See if you can send your hips, push your hips into your mat a little as well. Feel the heat build in your low back, your glutes. Staying for an inhale. As you exhale, let your chest melt down. You can stack your palms, rest your forehead on top. Maybe you will take a gentle rock of your hips side to side. And then we're going to keep our upper body relaxed for now. And we're going to see how wide we can open up the legs. So maybe you go really wide, like think wide straddle. Really wide. Scoot your legs, your feet off to the sides. It's a little weird, I know. But you might also be kind of resting, might not be the tops of the feet anymore, could maybe be the insides of the feet, whatever's comfy. And then if you feel like keeping your upper body relaxed, you can keep it down, but we could also maybe come back into our Sphinx upper body with some really wide legs. So if you're lifting up onto your forearms again, try to tuck your elbows under your shoulders. Be gentle here. If you feel like maybe you've gone too wide with your legs, your low back doesn't like it, you can bring them in a little too. Here's something different to experiment with. So drop your shoulders or just squeeze your glutes. You might even go for a little point of the toes. Send your hips into your mat a little. Notice the difference if there is one. Maybe it's a little harder to keep the legs engaged. Take another inhale. As you exhale, relax your upper body back down. And keep your legs out where they are. Relax your glutes though. Just a few more moments with our legs out wide like this, but you might start to bring your big toes together. Diamond. So your knees might be out nice and wide. And then to get your big toes together, maybe you actually have to float your feet a little. And if you do get your big toes to touch and your feet are floating, maybe you're able to drop your big toes back down. Or maybe your entire foot can touch. But relax your upper body here, soften through the head. So I want you to just take note of maybe how wide your knees are. Right now, maybe it's kind of similar to how wide you go for child's pose. Maybe it's a little wider than that. Maybe your big toes haven't been able to touch together, or you just don't want to. But we're gonna be meeting in child's pose. So maybe your knees can be as wide as they are now. But to move into our child's pose, just open your feet back up. Maybe as wide as the knees. Bring your hands under your shoulders or next to your chest. And then if you're able to push yourself up, scoot your big toes back together once they feel like moving. And then maybe you end up sending the hips back towards the heels. Maybe you even take a seat on your heels for a second. Then just notice, how wide are your knees? Is it different than your child's pose usually? Maybe it's all the same. But you could start to come down and relax for a moment in your child's pose. That may be a little different than what you usually do. Let's stay for another breath or two. And then we can start to lift again. Maybe you'll walk your hands back towards your chest first, and then scoot your knees back together. You can end up in tabletop. Maybe you'll rock your Hips side to side a few times. Shake it out a little. You will be taking a seat if you want to have your strap close by, maybe even your pillow. But we're going to come into a forward fold, both legs out long. So if you want your pillow under your knees or on top of your legs, if you want your strap on your feet, maybe you don't want to use anything at all. Take a moment to set things up, set your forward fold up, lengthen through your spine. Maybe we'll stay sitting tall. Maybe you'll point your toes up with the help of your strap or just by flexing your feet. And then if you want to tip forwards a little or lots, you can start to do that. Let your eyes close though, so you can enjoy a few moments here. Just going by feel instead of what it looks like. Stay for maybe 3 more breath, maybe even 5. You're folding forwards and slowly lift again. And drop your straps, maybe even move your pillows. You'll bend your knees, give them a hug. Maybe even a rock side to side. We're going to find our way onto our backs. And you won't need your strap, but you might want your pillow close by. Maybe on the left side of you. We're going to lay down. And once you are on your back, first, you might hug your knees to your chest or just take a few rocks side to side. As always, give your low back a nice little massage. We will be moving into a twist. Our knees falling over towards the left side. If you want to use a pillow or cross your legs. Just finding your twist. Few more moments on this side, maybe breathing a little bit deeper. Get your belly moving. One more nice deep breath. In and out. And then you can let another big inhale. Lift your legs up out of your twist. You're going to be using your pillow on the other side. You can move it over. Maybe a couple rocks of the knees side to side before switching. But a little bit of time here in our twist. So when you are ready to go there, your knees can fall over towards the right. Breathing a little deeper for these last few moments. Maybe you'll even place a hand on your belly. Feel that movement. Take one more slow breath, deep breath. Then use an inhale to lift your legs back up. Maybe hug your knees to your chest or just plant your feet. Rock side to side if you'd like. Maybe even happy baby. And eventually, we can make our way into Shavasana. Whatever that is going to look like for you today. You want a pillow under your knee. Or to lay on one side. Just find a comfy place. Just spend a few moments. Slowly, slowly start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Maybe you'll reach your arms above your head for a nice big stretch. Eventually bending your knees, rolling over to one side. Finding your way into a comfy seat when you're ready. Just closing your eyes one last time. And bring your hands together in front of your heart if you'd like. Awesome practice, you guys. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys on Monday. Namaste.